Hello, class. Professor Jackson here. So glad to actually meet everyone, even though it's virtual. Hope everyone's having a safe and productive time off. I know it's challenging times that we're facing here, but we will get through this. I wanted to actually make a video here today to talk to you more about our informative speeches. Very important to understand, first of all, what an informative speech consists of. Informative speech is totally made or created to describe a phenomena, to inform us, not to persuade us. So it's very important we understand that mechanism. And as far as topics, you are totally open to select whatever topic you choose. I have a list of topics in which you can select. However, feel totally free to select any topic that you deem worthy. If anything is overly questionable, please email me regarding that. First of all, I want to talk about assignment number 6, which is the informative speech rough draft outline. I say this is very important. Please look under week 5 for this actual assignment. And feel free to rewind this video so it may help you as we proceed forward. But I'm looking at under assignment number 5, week number 5, assignment 6. Week 5, assignment 6. Here, it breaks down what we're looking for during our informative speech. It breaks down exactly how it should be programmed, how it should be formatted, things of that nature. I also include on page 1 a sample informative speech from a young man. You're not required to do a comparison or contrast. You're not required to do that. You can speak on any topic with any format as long as you're informing us. For example, you can do a how-to speech. It may say how to make the perfect margarita. You have 2 main points. Your first point would be the actual ingredients. Second, the process. You may give a speech on how to make chocolate fudge brownies. Again, your first major point would be the actual ingredients, the chocolate, the milk, flour, things of that nature, then the actual process itself. So you can do a how-to speech. You can actually do a purely biographical speech. You can do a speech to say the life of President Obama. And your first major point would be his early years growing up, maybe born in Hawaii, spent time in Kansas, things of that nature. Second major point can be his political career in terms of being a state senator, U.S. senator, president. The key thing is to think of 2 major points and drive those home to us. So again, it's not required that you do a compare and contrast. It's not required that you actually do a how-to. So the key thing is following the guidelines in terms of 2 major points based on your given topic. I have a lot of topics for you to choose from. Totally feel free to pick your own topic. If you scroll on to page 2 on assignment 6, I have detailed different ways you should list your references. 1 reference is required for this particular speech. So it's important you have that reference listed. And it may not be completely filled or to the point of MLA standards. I'll make a little leeway because it's a speech class as opposed to English class. However, it's important that you list more than 1 item. You cannot just list the URL address or the website. You must list the URL address, the website, along with the date, or along with the author's name, something of that nature. If not, there'll be points deducted. And we're going to go through actual situations in terms of deductions. Page 3 is very important on assignment 6 because it actually is a sample outline of how your final outline should actually look. I'm going to make a point here that's very, very important. We have assignment 6 is the rough draft outline. Assignment 7 is a rough draft essay. However, when you're turning your speech, you must have a final outline and a final essay. That's actually the format you should follow here on page 3. So there should be no extra lines, things of that nature. I'm going to repeat myself again. It's very important to understand the fact that when you're turning your final documents, it should be labeled informative speech final outline, and informative speech final essay. So there are 4 different documents. You're turning in assignment 6 is a rough draft. Assignment 7 is a rough draft essay. So assignment 6 is a rough draft outline. Assignment 7 is a rough draft essay. You take those rough drafts and you make final documents from there. So I'm going to be totally clear on that. You must have, when you turn in your documents and your recordings on the 25th of June, you must have a final outline and a final essay. So no final outline will be, your final outline will be taken from assignment 6. Your final essay will be taken from assignment 7. However, it should be labeled final because the rough draft is for, actually the purpose of that is for you to get your thoughts and your opinions and brainstorm efforts out. The final should be nice and clean without any lines. Again, the example here on assignment 6 is typical of what it should look like. So if you only turn in a recording without your final documents, there will be points deducted we will cover in a second. So please understand that fact. You must have a final outline, a final essay, and speech recording. And the final is just simply the best version of your rough draft. If you say, okay, well, my rough draft is great, that's totally fine. You can still copy that, paste it, but it should be without all the extra lines, and it should be labeled final, outline, and final essay. So that's why if you look on Blackboard, I said the 25th, you're determining the speech recording, final, outline, final essay. There are 3 items that's due on the 25th. So back to page 3, sample outline. Talked about parole and probation. At introduction, you gain the audience attention. B, relate the topic to the audience. It's always good to ask the audience a question. If you want to think of a good way to relate, you say, does anyone know the difference between parole and probation? Then next you will have your actual thesis statement where you will summarize your speech. Today my speech is on parole and probation, difference between the two. Next part of the outline, the body. Talked about parole, broken down that into major points, subpoints. Secondly, probation. That's broken down into several subpoints as well. So therefore, remember your outline is on the keywords and phrases. Just keywords and phrases. So if you turn in your final outline with a lot of verbiage, in like a paragraph, you would lose points for that. It's keywords and verbiage you should present from your outline. You should speak from your outline so you can look at your notes, then look at the camera, and it keeps you from reading the whole document. So it's very important. This is public speaking class, so the ability to look in the camera and speak is critical. So final outline should look similar to this document. Should be labeled correctly, things of that nature. Page 4 of assignment 6, excuse me, the informative speech final essay. It should be labeled such. The left-hand corner should have that information that I just mentioned here. Your name, my name, the class, and the actual date of the speech. I broke down an example of a good, strong final essay. I include the thesis statement in bold. Introduction, paragraph 1. Paragraph 2 talks about parole. Paragraph 3 speaks of probation. Paragraph 4, your conclusion. So there's no set limit in terms of words or pages for your essay. Your essay is primarily proof to show me that you understand your subject matter very well and you can speak strong on it. Again, you should not present from your essay. You must present from your outline, because presenting from your essay, you would tend to talk, you would tend to read a lot, and reading is not the object of this class. It's public speaking, not public reading. Very important. At the bottom of your typed final essay should be at least one reference, as you see here on assignment 6. Very important to make sure you have at least one reference with more than just one website listed or URL address. So it must be at the bottom. If you're not at the bottom, you would lose points as well. We'll discuss that in a little bit. So very important to make sure that you have your reference listed at the bottom of your essay on a separate page. If it's in the middle or not at all, you lose points. So make sure it's at the bottom. Next page are the actual topics for your speech. Again, you're not required to use any of these topics. They're suggestions. If you feel passionate about a subject matter that's not included on this particular list, totally feel free to give a speech on that topic. That's what I really enjoy about this class or even at the school, because I have the liberty to allow you to pick any topic that you see fit. So that's very, very important. And a bunch of topics I selected or actually gave to you. Of course, well, I think Black Lives Matter. Number 30, that's very important these days and times. Number 14, something near and dear to my heart, how to make homemade brownies. Always a good thing. Number 37, famous speeches. I have one student actually giving a speech on that because it's a speech class. Number 12, how to shoot a basketball. Have number 60, crazy laws, which is always a very fun topic because you'll be amazed what laws actually are on the book still that's pretty comical. And the list goes on and on. I have a lot of topics to choose from. I tried to pick topics that may relate to you, you can understand or relate to. I think one is how actually to apply makeup. I've learned stuff I never knew before. Number 147, how to apply makeup. I never knew what smoky eyes were because I'm a guy, but I learned in this class. So we moving on and on. There are a variety of topics for you to choose from. Okay, the assignment 6 itself is at the bottom, in which you would just break information down in terms of introduction, your body, your first major point, your sub points, second major point, its sub points, then a strong conclusion. So feel free to add more to that. You're not required to have, say, 5 sub points. Someone asked me that before via email. But the key thing is make sure you have at least 3 minutes worth of material when giving your speech. That's the most important thing when speaking. Very important. So, and your conclusion, you will summarize your thesis statement again, then provide strong concluding remarks. Your outline, that's your rough draft outline. So some people have turned those in already and many have not. So, but the whole idea, if you need any help, please email me regarding that, is to think of one major topic and think of 2 subtopics surrounding that and give a good strong speech on that. That's assignment number 6. Assignment 7 is the rough draft essay. For this class, again, repeat myself, it's so important. We're going to do a rough draft outline and a rough draft essay to make sure you understand the subject matter, to flesh everything out. When you turn your final speech in, you will have a final outline and a final essay, which is separate from your rough draft. Just think about something's rough, then it's final. Rough draft outline, final outline. That should be nice typed. Rough draft essay, then a final essay. So I should have those 2 final documents. Assignment 7 is the essay itself, the rough draft essay. So you're taking those keywords and phrases from assignment 6, making a good, strong essay. Typically, it will be 4 paragraphs at least. The introduction, which includes your thesis, the attention getter, your related ordinance, your thesis statement. Paragraph 2 would be your first major point and your subpoints subsequently. Paragraph 3 would be your second major point and its subpoints. Paragraph 4 would be your conclusion, where you would actually restate your thesis, provide strong concluding remarks. So that's the way it's formatted. That's assignment number 7. Now I want to go through on week number 6, document that says recording informative speech. The actual speech, informative speech presentation. Very important to understand that. Under week 6, the document, the link that says recording informative speech, final outline, final essay, recording. So please follow me on that. And you definitely feel free to pause and find this document. I says, please be prepared to email your recording or your YouTube link or whatever source you can with your informative speech by Monday, June 25th. Definitely feel free to email me the actual speeches earlier because I have a lot of students. So therefore, it typically would take a week to 10 days for me to respond back with your actual comments and your grade because of my multiple classes I teach. However, definitely feel free if you can try to really stay on top of your work, complete assignments early. If you have your final outline together, final answer together, and your speech itself, feel free to email that to me early. Email it to me at rjackson@atlantatech.edu. Very important. Back to the document. You're required to turn in your actual link for your speech. You're also required to turn in 2 final documents. A typed final essay, which again will be taken from assignment 6, but a cleaned up version without all the lines and things of that nature. And a final essay, which will be taken from the rough draft assignment on assignment 7. So they'll be very similar, or maybe very, very similar. It'll be the same. However, the wording should be different in terms of the heading. It should stay final, and there should not be any lines like we have for the rough draft. The purpose of this speech is simply to inform your audience, to let them know about a factor, subject matter that we don't know. You're the subject matter expert on this particular document, on a particular speech. The time requirement, 3 to 5 minutes long. So make sure you time yourself. When you're timing yourself now when you record your speech so you know exactly how long your speech is. Very important. 3 to 5 minutes long. Sources, there's one outside source required. And you must mention that source when you're speaking. So you must mention that source, and you also must have the actual reference at the bottom of your essay. I gave an example here. I said, for example, according to WebMD.com, hypertension in the African American community has increased by 10% over the last 4 years. So you must actually give that reference when speaking. Very important to understand that. When you present again, you should present from your typed outline, not your typed essay. From your essay, if you read from your essay directly, points will be deducted because of lack of eye contact. And the whole idea behind this class is to become a better, stronger public speaker. The grading for this assignment, 100 possible points. You 80 points for your speech presentation. You have 15 points for your final essay, 5 for your final outline. You may give me a perfect speech, no errors, 80 points. However, if you do not turn in a typed final essay, that's minus 15 points. If you don't turn in a typed final outline, it's minus 5. So it's very, very important to make sure you have those 3 items emailed to me on or before June 25th. Very important. Now, moving on to page 2 in this document. Blackboard is very important in terms of reviewing your comments, my comments, and your grade. Grade center, I will place your actual speech grade itself. However, more importantly, under course messages, I will email you a document with a sample rubric. The rubric is a sample. It will have the maximum amount of points. So that's not your actual point score. It's going to show you a breakdown of it. More importantly, the comments at the bottom. And that's what takes so long for me to grade everybody, because I listen very intently and give you really strong comments on how to improve yourself as a public speaker. So I will let you know how many times you said, things of that nature that you shouldn't say, or you repeated yourself, or acted nervously, or read too much. I also would tell you the good things you did as well. I will add in extra credit that you achieved and your final score. So it's very important to look under course messages. Course messages will detail your actual comments and your grade. And again, once I receive the actual speech itself, it would take approximately 10 days or less for you to get those comments and grades back. So no need to email me early, because I have close to 200 students, a lot of students, but I review them very carefully. So you will have that back within 10 days of your actual speech itself. Good news, I do give extra credit. So people asked about that already. So you have opportunities, two ways to earn extra credit. One is through extra references. One reference is required. You must have that reference. It must be mentioned while you speak. It must be at the bottom of your typed essay. And I gave you examples in assignment 6 on how to properly execute that. If it's not perfect, that's okay. But what I'm really looking for is making sure you have at least 2 different items for your reference. Very important to make sure not just one website, not just one URL address. Very, very key. In order to get extra credit for your reference, for your extra references, you must mention the extra reference and you must have it properly listed at the bottom of the typed essay. So say if you have one reference done properly, fine. If you have an extra reference for extra credit with only the website, you will not get the extra credit for that. So make sure you have at least more than one item per reference. You can have up to 2 extra references for 2 extra credit points apiece. Therefore, you can have maximum 3 references. One's required, 2 extra references, which means you get 4 extra credit points. 1 extra reference, you get 2 extra credit points. Finally, you can have a prop. A prop is a physical representation of your speech. For example, you might be giving a speech on the importance of drinking water. Your face might say, "Hi, my name is Rod Jackson. I'm here to inform you the importance of drinking water. Number 1, it helps control health. And the second major point may be that it really is good for your complexion, things of that nature. So it may control appetite, 1, it's good for your complexion, 2. So this is a prop. It will get 3 extra credit points for that. Or I might give a speech on styles of hats. First style of hat may be, talk about the Kangol. Second may be a cowboy hat. So those are 2 major points I would discuss that. So a prop is something, a physical representation of your speech. And if you show that and talk about that, you can get 3 extra credit points as well. So you can have extra references or you can have props themselves. Scroll down further, there's a sample rubric. So that's, again, you will see that in your course messages, the sample rubric, but down further, highlighted individual comments, most important thing there. Now, very important is the informative speech checklist. This is critical. I cannot stress enough how important it is to make sure you totally go through this before emailing your final documents and your final speech recording. First of all, your speeches should be continuous as much as possible without any edits, things of that nature. So sometimes people have issues with that, but we work on having it continuous as possible so I can get a clear snapshot of your performance. Number 2, type final outline. Again, don't send me assignment 6 exactly from like saying rough draft with all those lines. It should be taken, the context should be taken on a clean document labeled informative speech final outline. If I do not receive that, it's -5. Number 3, a typed original essay, not a Wikipedia job, an original essay, very important. That must be labeled properly. It must be at least 4 paragraphs. If I do not receive your final essay, that's -15 points. Number 4 on the checklist, proper heading of your typed documents. Your final documents must be labeled, headed properly. It must state informative speech, final outline, and informative speech, final essay. If it's not labeled properly, it's -5. Number 5, 1 outside reference. So we might be giving a speech on how to make grandma's famous collard greens. Something you know oh so well, no reference needed. Yes, there is a reference needed in order not to lose 10 points. So therefore, you may state that according to cooks.com, they use smoked turkey. Have a grandmother use ham hocks. Or you may state, according to bobbyflay.com, he used peppers because he loves peppers. So my point is, regardless if you're giving a speech of something you know oh so well, you must have at least 1 outside source. You must mention that source while you're giving your speech, and yes, that source should be at the bottom of your final type essay. Very important. So number 6 is state your final reference. You must state your reference at least. Failure to state your reference is -5. Number 7, posture and silence. If you're healthy, definitely please stand up and make sure your eyes are visible. Make sure we can hear you. I know sometimes it may be tougher if you have a lot of people in your house, but you must record at a time or in a place where there's quiet. Very distracting to the reviewer or the listener if there's noise in the background. Number 8, speech time requirement, 3 to 5 minutes long. 3 to 5 minutes long. So you have the added advantage of knowing exactly how much time you have because you're recording yourself. And you also have the added advantage of starting over if you like. Unlike in the classroom, typically, which I've taught at for a while, you have one shot at it. And they say, can I start over? Like, no, you got to keep going. Not fair. However, with this environment, you can start over as many times as you like as long as I get the recording before June 25th. Number 9, extra credit. Utilize that. Extra references, utilize the opportunity to have props. Very, very important. Finally, most important is practice. Make sure you practice. Very, very important so you can be very relaxed when giving your speech itself. I go further in this document to talk about recording online speech and sending your online speeches. That's why I actually had everyone give an introductory speech to me without any grading, so we can totally practice on how to properly send me the speech. So now there'll be no excuses. I must have those documents and that speech recording by June 25th. If not, there will be points deducted from that, like 10 points each day that I do not have it. So that's why it's important even now as you prepare for this form the speech will be graded, to go ahead and send it to me early. So if there are any glitches, we have time to rectify that. Don't wait until June 25th at 9 o'clock to start working on this assignment, because issues would happen, and I love everyone, but however, we have standards to live by, and it's important to make sure you abide by that. So I will warn everybody to go ahead and start early. There will be very little issue. So again, further in the document, I discuss ways to download to YouTube, then upload it, send it to me. Please remember to go the YouTube route to set it to public so we can view it. And once I review it and grade it, you're definitely welcome to go ahead and delete those items from there. No problem at all. Or there are multiple ways to send your speech recording, not necessarily via YouTube at all. So it's totally up to you however you sent it. And for the majority of people, I had no issue at all in terms of uploading your speech itself. And while practicing your speech, it's very important to make sure you understand the deductions and ways to really help improve yourself. If you look on Blackboard and scroll down, click on lessons, scroll past the class schedule, you will see deduction chart, extra credit opportunities, example of actual speeches. The link is titled Deduction Chart, Extra Credit Opportunities, Example of Instructor Speeches, Comments. Very important to review that. Please review that very carefully, because here you'll understand exactly where points will be deducted and how many points will be deducted. For example, saying mispronouncing words, hesitating, lack of eye contact, things of that nature. So it's an actual chart. It's a science to speaking well. It's not something that we just can do naturally. Some people speak well naturally, however, you can improve upon it. If you're nervous, you can practice, you can work on it. I've had some students who, in the beginning, very, very nervous, not comfortable at all. But in a semester, they put in the work much, much better. So please view that chart carefully so you can understand the deductions and things of that nature. Extra credit, we went over that already. Also, please view the actual comments I made last semester to students. I presented here 3 different speeches: a person with a poor speech score, a person with an average speech score, a person with an excellent speech score. And a lot of times issues come about not just because of the speeches, but because they fail to follow the instructions in terms of documents sent, in terms of putting a reference in the proper place, in terms of actually putting a reference at all, things of that nature. So make sure you read those comments carefully, that you abide by the checklist that we went over. I would send a message out with the checklist again prior to the speech due date. So very important. Okay. Again, it's great to finally talk to everyone. Key points is to remember to practice, to prepare early, and on the 25th, have a recorded speech link sent to me on or before the 25th, along with a final outline and a final essay. If you have any questions, please email me. We can talk about it, and we can help you do whatever it takes for you to have a successful speech and a successful rest of the semester. Thanks a lot. Everyone take care.